Hello guys, in this video we are going to be looking at Python string methods. So Python string methods are functions that we can use to work with strings. So for example, let's look at a function. For example, we can use the capitalize to capitalize the first letter of a string. So for example, I'm going to say that text should be equal to, and then I can say my string. And so what this will do is that using the capitalize, I can say that my egg should be equal to text dot capitalize. And so what this will do is that it will make the first letter to be in capital letters. I can now print the value of x by saying print x, and then when we run the code, you see that the first letter of my string will be in capital letters. And so you can see that it has changed the first letter of my string. And so another function that we can use in Python is the uppercase, and we can convert all our text to uppercase by saying text.upper. So instead of using the capitalize, you can just edit the capitalize to upper, and what this will do is that it will convert all the text here into uppercase, and they'll be in capital letters. And so let's run this code to see the result. As you can see that it has printed out my string is good in uppercase, and we can also change this to lowercase should in case you want to print it in lowercase. So what we do is to type text dot lower using the lower function, and this will make it to be in lowercase. So let's make this to be in uppercase. And so this is in capital letters, and then when we run this code, you will see that it will print out the value of text in lowercase. And so let's run the code, and you can see that it has printed out my strings in Python as a lowercase function. And also we can get the length of a string by using the length function, and then to do that we can say len. And so let's get the length of the string. So to get the length, we are going to print it by saying print and then open parenthesis len, and then our variable, we're going to input text to get the length of our string here, and you close the parenthesis. And so when we run this code, you see that it will print out the length of this string of text. And so let's hit the run button to check, and you can see that the length of our strings is 20. And you can see that the length of our string is 20, as our string contains 20 spaces. And next we can also replace a part of a strings by using the replace keyword. And so to replace a string, what we do is to use the replace function. So for example, let's try to replace the text in this our line 1, and to do that I'm going to say that my egg should be equal to, I can now say text dot replace, and then here I can now specify the word I want to replace. So I'm going to specify the content I want to replace. So I'm going to be replacing strings with a small letter string. So I'm going to say strings, then comma, then next I'm going to input the new word that will be replacing the strings, and then in double parentheses I can say code, which is my code in Python. And what this will do is that it will look for where strings are in this code and then replace it with the word code. So we are going to print out the value of x, and when you run the code, you see that to replace the word strings with code. And here you are, it has replaced the text strings with the word code. And so that's how you can use functions in Python to edit or manipulate your strings. And so we are going to be checking if a string is present in another string. So we are going to be checking if a character is present in a string. So for example, you want to check if the word in is present. And so we are going to do that by using the int function. And to do that, you're going to say, for example, we're going to specify a variable that egg should be equal to strings. And since we want to check an a string, and since it's a string that we want to check, we are going to use the double quotation marks or the single quotation marks, and then we're going to say strings in our variable text, and then we're going to print the value of x. And so what this will do is that to check if the string keyword is found in our variable text. And let's run the code to see, and you can see that it has returned false. Why? Because the lowercase strings is not found in the variable which contains my strings all in capital letters. Let's change this to capital letters to check, and you can see that it has returned true. Why? Because the variable text contains a keyword strings in capital letters. And also you can do that for integers. So let's try for an integer. So let's create a list and see if it prints out the result. So you're going to run this code to check if string is contained in this text. So for example, you want to check if the number 76 is contained in the variable text, which is text. So you're going to say 76, and then when we run this code, it will check if the integer 76 is found in our variable text. You can see that it has returned true. So take for example, I want to check if 7 is found in my variable. So when I run the code, you see that it will return false. Why? Because 7 is not contained in my list of text. So you remember that the functions that we have looked at in this video, we have looked at the capitalize, which is used to capitalize the first word of a string. And next we have looked at the upper function, which is dot upper. And what this does is that it converts your string text into uppercase. Dot lower convert it to lowercase. And also we have looked at the length keyword to check the length of a string, which is dot len, which is dot len. And with that, you can use it to check the length of a string and know the number of spaces it occupies. And also we have used the replace function to replace the old word or old text or old integer with a new one by saying dot replace, and in open parentheses you specify the old character or the string or the integer and separate it to the comma, and then you put in the new integer or string that you want to replace it with. And finally, we have looked at the int function, and the int function is used to check if an integer or a string or a boolean is present in either a variable or a text or a list, as the case may be. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, if you do, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications, and I'll see you in my next tutorial where I'll be talking about Python type conversions. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.